I'm here today on Island Focus with Kirk Caldwell, who is the mayor of the city and county of Honolulu. Thank you for being with us, Kirk.
I want to thank you for allowing us to spend some time together on Island Focus. And it's good to be together with you, Lila, although we're not in the same room. We may be physically apart, but socially close. And, we share as an experience of working together in the House of Representatives. So it's nice to be talking with you and your audience. Thank you so much for making the time to allow this to happen.
Well, you've just given the perfect opening that we are physically distant, but socially connected. And perhaps you can share with us a little bit of what you envisioned for the future of Oahu as we reopen and as we move past COVID-19.
I do look back at the sacrifices that have been made by the people of the city and county of Honolulu, almost 1 million strong. I mean, incredible sacrifice that's been made since probably starting in February. Huge impacts for families in terms of not being together, for their worries and concerns and fears, for the impacts on businesses, and then the massive job losses. When you think about the number of people unemployed, Oahu right now has 22% unemployment, the highest of any city in the country. And before the pandemic, we were at like 2.1, 2.2, the lowest of any city in the country. We just announced the next phase of businesses will open up on June 19th, and it pretty much covers almost every sector now, except for large outdoor gatherings, sporting events, entertainment events, those kinds of things. But because of the sacrifice, because of what's occurred, it's my hope, my dream, and I think it's probably that of many people on this island, that we don't go back to the place where we started. There are good things about where we were, but there are also things that we'd like to change. For example, in the visitor industry, is the goal to go back to 10 million visitors and then 11 and 12 and on, and see the impacts that brings with it, but not see the type of benefit that we used to see with lower numbers of tourists. And so this is just one example of many where maybe we grow in a more resilient way, and when we're finished, we're not back to the status quo. We're in a different position, but a much healthier position, and how we maybe live in a way where our youth, our children, our daughter, your son, have a more resilient and more positive future, where they say, this is a place I can live. Because as you've heard recently, Carl Bottom from UHERO, they've all reported that in the next year or two, we could lose 25,000 people. That breaks my heart, and I'm sure it breaks your heart. We'd much rather see a place that's more affordable, where there's a job opportunity for our ohana, our children who are born and raised here. We can create green jobs, Lila, that don't exist today, whether it's getting people to plant more trees on our island, getting people to put more solar panels on roofs, but help do that by hiring people who are unemployed. And perhaps, as visitors come back, it's managed in a better way. We don't have as many vacation rentals where people in our neighborhoods, they're in designated resort areas. And when they travel, they're traveling in a way that shows greater respect for our community, and also maybe minimize the impacts. We manage better where visitors go and how many people are in any one place at any given time. And a small example of that we're looking at is for Hanauma Bay, which right now still remains closed. But as we open up, maybe we don't open up to 3,000 visitors again, where they're down there lying on the sand getting a suntan, but we're actually inviting groups to come down in a smaller number. And they're being taken on a guided tour where they're being told about the reef, they're being told about the fish, they're being given the native Hawaiian names for those fish and what the importance of those fish were to the community back then. And they grow to appreciate the uniqueness of this bay. That's why I haven't opened it up. We're hoping that perhaps we can do that as a small example of what we can do when more visitors come to our shores.
As we wrap up our conversation for today, what are some of the lessons you've learned that perhaps we can also learn from you?
One thing that I've learned is I think the people of this place are extraordinary. When orders were issued, whether it be by me or the governor, they were complied with in ways you didn't see anywhere else in our country. I mean, the fact that we have so few cases is a tribute not to what government did, but what the people of this island did in terms of complying and protecting each other. And, we use the word ohana and kuleana, but it's not just words. It's not just a Disney movie. It's for real here. people act out of concern and consideration for their immediate family, their neighbors, their employees, and the larger community in ways you don't see anywhere else. And so that's one lesson learned, is that that part of our culture is still alive and strong. And we need to be appreciative of it and make sure that we protect it for generations to come, which is the next lesson is, how do we do it in a way? How do we get people reemployed? But as we do it, we're laying the foundation for a new direction. And I think you can do that. It's like any journey. The first step you take is setting you in a certain direction. And it depends on that first step because it's critical as to where you want to go. And so as we start, like you're saying, it's not a rush, but we do want people to get back to work. But what kind of work? What kind of jobs? Where you have the greatest synergy to help people in the short term. But as we do it, we're going in a new direction for the long term. And that's the goal. And I think we can get there.
Well, thank you so much. The Mayor Kim on the Hawaii island, his quote is, "We're in this together," and I hear that from you as well.
Thank you for your public service, too.
Thank you very much. You've just had the opportunity to join me in conversing with Kirk Caldwell, who is the mayor of the city and county of Honolulu. Mahalo.